Hi, I'm Greg Adamore, your host, the real estate coach for TV17's Experts of Southern Nevada. Today we have a special guest, Layla McMachen from the #1 short sale team in the county through Ticor Title. She's a lead specialist for short sales. They specialize in short sales. And today's market is primarily short sales, and I'm glad to introduce Layla to you today, and she came in on short notice, so we're happy that you could come in today.
Well, thanks for having me, Greg. Thank you so much.
Yeah, for today I wanted to maybe give the viewers a little insight into what a short sale is and how it's done. Let's say somebody wants to sell their home, they owe $500,000, and the current value is $2 million. And let's say Bank of America, because they do a lot of the loans.
Yeah, very popular.
So let's say I take a listing, I have all this information, this documentation I get from the seller, and I know Ticor has a really nice package pre-made up, so it's easier for us to get everything at once.
Yeah, correct. Over at the Ticor Title Short Sale Processing Unit, that's what we do all day, every day, is we process short sales. So we do have a pamphlet of all the requirement docs for the bank that we do need a complete package. Unfortunately, once you ring the bell with the bank, you can never unring it. So we will not submit to a bank until after we've received a complete package from you and the seller. And we then submit it. Bank of America, they are one of the busiest banks, and they do everything through Equator, which is nice. So everything's uploaded right into their system, and they have it right away.
I see. So they have streamlined the system as opposed to 5-6 years ago.
Correct. Yes, they do work. Some of the banks still, Aquin, Green Tree, you still have to fax that 250-page fax into them. But some of the bigger banks, Wells Fargo, Bank of America, they are all on Equator, so it's all very streamlined, and they request documents from you, and you upload them right into the system, so they have them right away.
Oh, I see. And I attended one of your seminars you taught today, and for the real estate agents. And did you say FHA is starting to?
They're saying within the next month. FHA, Bank of America, FHA loans will also be done on Equator. Currently, FHA and VA loans are not done through Equator. They are still done by fax.
Okay, so that's good. As the industry changes and we're making changes, it's good to keep our viewers informed of what happens in a short sale. Let's say I sit down with a homeowner and they said we need a short sale. I get the package filled out. Now I have a buyer for the property, which doesn't take long in today's market, which is very nice. I bring you the package with the offer and acceptance and all the addendums, the short sale addendum. And then when do you contact the bank? Is there, everything needs to be completely?
Everything does need to be complete. And part of the packet that we do need and you would collect from your seller, we ask that you contact us at sspu@ticortitle.com before you even go and meet with that seller. When you have your listing appointment, before you meet with them, if you let us know what bank the seller is currently with, who their mortgage is with, we'll send you. Several of the banks have specific packages on top of the laundry list of things that they need. So we can get that information to you before you go, and you would get that completed. And generally, they need a financial statement, a hardship letter, the last 60 days of bank statements, the last 30 days of pay stubs, and your last 2 years of tax returns.
Okay. So as this process goes on, sometimes month for month, the homeowner should probably keep their current pay stubs or the next ones coming in, keep them available because you'll need to continually update those. Correct.
The banks constantly are asking for updates. So we suggest that you have your sellers on board from the very beginning and let them know, even though you've collected all these things up front, every month you get a new bank statement, and every time you get paid your new pay stub, send those into the bank because they're going to continually asking. They want to make sure you didn't get a big raise, you didn't just get $50,000 from somewhere. They want to keep tabs on your hardship, and that's why they continually ask for these updated documents.
Right. You mentioned hardship, which is a buzzword in the industry now. There's financial hardships that most of us are familiar with, but now I understand that there are strategic hardships as well. People have relocated out of state or maybe got a divorce or something along those lines.
Correct. It's not always just the financial. It is, but a lot of times it does come back down to financial. You couldn't find a job in Las Vegas, or you found a better job for your family in another state. So, you just need to let the bank know exactly why you're unable to keep up on your mortgage or you have to move. Sometimes they'll even allow you bought this. This was your first home. You know, you bought it to keep for a while, and now your family's grown. When you bought this house, you had no children. You were a newlywed. This was your love nest. Now you have 4 children, and they're not all fitting in this 3-bedroom house you bought. They will also look at that as a hardship.
Oh, that's interesting. I've had some people too that have maybe a 2-story home and they had to move into a ranch-style home because they had a back injury or disability, so they'll consider those type of things. So it's good to consult with a short sale processing team to determine, you know, first of all, what loan, so you'll know what paperwork to bring in the first time. Do it once, and then to discuss the hardships. And you have attorneys as well as I do that we work with that sometimes can give a free consultation, ask certain questions.
Correct. We have O'Grady and Whittemeyer attorneys that we work very closely with, that we do suggest that you sit down. They'll give you a free consultation and sit down with you and make sure that all your I's are dotted and your T's are crossed and things are the way they need to be. And they can give you, because they're attorneys, I'm not an attorney and you're not an attorney, so there's only so much information or so many things that we can say. However, the attorneys have a little more wiggle room and they can advise these sellers.
Right. And as the landscape of short sales is changing from month to month, year to year, we're seeing more and more changes in the assembly bills and the legislature, both federal and state. So you need to stay in touch with the laws. And like, from what the information I've got from some higher up sources, is that the mortgage debt forgiveness won't be extended next year, which is really bad news for people that delay their short sales. So it's important, timing is so important, that you talk to an attorney or a seasoned realtor and a qualified short sale processor yourself and get all the current facts, because these opportunities that are available today may not be there. And let's take that example I mentioned before. Maybe you owe $500,000 on your house and it's worth $3. Well, you have if you would get the deficiency waived on that and the short sale succeeds, if you don't close escrow by the end of this year, there's a $200,000 capital gain that the IRS could assess you for. Somebody's in a 50% tax bracket, they might get billed with $100,000, you know, so.
Correct. They're going to send you a 1099 at the end of the year, and they're going to consider that part of your income for the year. So
ordinary income.
this is the time to act. We were on the bubble at the end of 2012. We didn't know for sure that they were going to extend the deficiency waiver into 2013. It wasn't until into January that they actually extended that deficiency waiver. So they were real hesitant about extending it for 2013. So I don't know. I don't feel for sure that they're going to do that in 2014.
Right. And, nowadays with the interest rates being as low as they've been, and probably 40 or 50 years, and prices being as low as they've been, they're lower than they were when they were new, it's an opportune time to buy. We're finding as agents in the field, I get 8 or 10 deals going with title companies, and if I don't get these things processed soon enough, then I get bogged down, and thank God for your help. Otherwise, there's just such a tedious amount of paperwork. It's a voluminous amount of paperwork, and so I've got people that want to sell and take advantage of this opportune time to sell. So with the shortage of inventory and the laws changing, people really need to get their homes on the market now. Well, it's very favorable. The banks do pay the realtor fees. They pay the title. What other things do they pay? The transfer tax? They
do. Banks will pay if you have a buyer getting a new loan. They are still open to paying a reasonable amount, the 3% of closing costs for the new buyer. So they are paying those. They are paying some, but not all HOA liens. In general, they'll pay 3 months of HOA. But if you do have a big lien, if you submit that right away in the beginning, with your short sell package, letting them know there's an HOA lien and how much it is. They are paying some, not always, but they are paying some of those big HOA liens.
And would you advise a homeowner now to try to keep current on their HOA? Would they be more eligible for, let's say, relocation money?
There's never a guarantee that the bank's going to pay that HOA for you. So anyone who is short selling their home, I would still stay current on your sewer, garbage, and HOA, because there's a chance at the end of it your short sale may be approved, but they're not going to pay those, and you may not have $3,000 or $4,000 to pay them current at the close of escrow to close your short sale. So I always recommend, if possible, to keep current on those things.
Oh, yeah. I understand before you were a short sale processing expert, you were in the escrow business also?
I was an escrow officer for 5 years. I actually, like most real estate agents, have changed with the times. At the time, I was a REO escrow officer. So I spent several years working with the banks on the foreclosure side.
Okay, so earn my respect because I know how tedious that can be. And we talk about foreclosures and banks and REO departments. So a lot of people need a clarification on once you start a short sale, does that postpone the foreclosure, or not in all cases, or in some cases?
It's not in any cases. That's a very big misconception. When just because you're in a short sale and you're in the middle of a short sale, that does not guarantee a foreclosure postponement. If you are in the middle of a short sale and we are processing your short sale for you, we will always request the postponement, but we're seeing more and more now that the banks will not postpone the foreclosure sale date unless they've already issued an approval letter. So it is important to start working on your short sales right away and not waiting so long.
You want to take advantage of the opportunity when that door is open and step right through it. I know that we've talked other times about mediation, and that's something that the homeowner is living in the home. They're eligible to file for mediation, and sometimes that can stop foreclosure for 3, 4, or 5 months, depending on how quick the bank were requested to sit down for the mediation. But as I've been cautioning our viewers just to make sure they contact us right away, because like you said, it won't stop the foreclosure. No. And just because you're trying to do a loan modification or a short sale, there's a foreclosure department that's turned the egg time over, and they're on track to do what they're paid to do, and that's foreclose.
Correct. And some of these homeowners have been in the home for 2 years and haven't made a payment, and have just now decided to do a short sale, but unfortunately we're not a foreclosure postponement service. We are a short sale service, and we cannot always guarantee that postponement. So if you know that you can't stay in the home for whatever reason, it's always a good idea to look into short selling sooner than later.
Absolutely, absolutely. What's one of the major differences between the short sale and the foreclosure, say?
Well, with the short sale, the seller still owns the home. It's not owned by the bank yet. So as the seller, you're still making that determination of who the buyer is. Once it's foreclosed on, the bank owns the property and the seller has been made to vacate, and they are the ones selling the property. Okay,
and for viewers that may be renting a home right now and they understand they're getting notices that the homeowner is behind in payments, is the law still apply where they have 90 days if they have a valid lease and they show that they've been paying rent?
Yes. And and if you're getting those letters and you're not getting any communication from whoever you're renting the home from, they usually have the 1-800 number on there. So I would maybe reach out and let them know that you're renting this property.
Sure. I think it's important to stay involved with that and make sure that you're communicating with a title company. Now, if they called Ticor Title and they had concerns whether or not the property that they're renting say had a notice of default or a notice of sale date. Sometimes we refer to NOD, notice of default, or NOS, notice of sale date. That you could provide that information through a realtor.
And your realtor can help you with that information. You can call Ticor Title and speak to customer service, and they'd be happy to get you any of that information. And the banks sometimes are finding it a little more profitable right now, and they're actually leasing the property to these people who are renting it, and they're getting to stay in the homes longer.
Oh yeah, that's a nice thing that the banks sometimes are taking back the properties and allowing the people to rent back. And if a person has, say, 2 or 3 loans on their home, a lot of wallpaper, a lot of paper here, first mortgage, second mortgage, maybe a third, they can still participate in the short sale?
Yes, you can, and they don't even have to all be the same lender. We see oftentimes that the first, second, and sometimes third are all with different lenders. The only thing that we do notice with especially a third mortgage is it's very hard to get a deficiency waiver out of that third mortgage, because usually they're getting $500 to $1,000 on a loan that's $20,000 or $30,000.
So they're not real happy to begin with. But also, I guess the homeowner has options, and as they get into the process, once they seek good counsel, and they'll call me, I'll call you, we'll call our attorneys, we'll talk to our tax people. We have a brain trust. We get together and basically develop a strategy for that homeowner to help them reduce that debt, avoid deficiencies, avoid capital gains or tax liabilities. So as long as they get the counseling and they get good help, then usually we can, let's say going to a doctor, they have to diagnose your situation before they can help you.
And I'm recommending to the homeowners right now, The banks are offering a lot of relocation funds, not always, but they're offering between $3,000 and $60,000 in relocation.
Up to
And
60.
so if you know you're short selling your home, and you can have your real estate agent and have it listed, but we're suggesting that you call into the bank before you even take an accepted offer on it. And I know it's very hard for these homeowners. They've been avoiding the bank for quite a while since they haven't been making their payments, but we do suggest to call into them. These banks are really actually trying to work with these sellers now. So
that's great
and
news.
sometimes they'll give you the price that they're looking for, so you know what to list it for.
Yeah, and that's also good. Like say we talked about Bank of America earlier, and let's say there's a co-op program, which is simplified, and the sellers usually get a relocation. Is that correct?
Correct. And I think Bank of America right now, I did see that they are offering up to $60,000, but again, you do have to contact the bank before you have an accepted offer on the property.
Right. Yeah, I've got one in Mountain Edge right now, and the homeowner is very delighted. She's not only happy that she can avoid this debt, but she's actually going to get paid to participate in the program. And so they do have some really good incentives. We don't know if she's going to get 5,000 or 30. 60 would be just
that would be nice
from above. What percentage of short sales are approved?
Over at Ticor, we are number one in Clark County. We have been for 2.5 years now, so we work very hard, and we have an 87% approval rate. And of the 13% that we are unable to get approved, a lot of times that is because the buyer has backed out of the deal, or because the first and second are not agreeing. But we have a very high. We work very hard. We're professionals over there.
That's a very impressive rate. That's a very, very impressive. And I've checked the statistics to see that over the last 2 or 3 years, you've done more. Something like what do you do? About 150 or 200 a month sometimes.
Correct.
Successfully closed. It's like 5 a day.
We do. We are currently processing over 400 short sale files.
And the key thing for me as a practitioner in the business, bringing deals to you, if you do well, then I look good.
Correct.
So I want to go with excellent people, and part of the thing dealing with an excellent realtor is that they have the right contacts with title and escrow, and with the attorneys, CPAs, everything from inspectors to appraisers. We have to kind of coordinate the whole thing, and as long as we get good results, then we get repeat business, which is the heart of our business. So that's some impressive numbers, 87%.
Thank you.
That's very, very nice. And the volume, how many people would be in your staff?
We have a staff of 6 full-time employees, and that's all we do all day, every day, 5 days a week. We're processing short sales. And the good part about our department is it is no extra charge to you as the real estate agent. We're here to be your assistant, and we're here to be your assistant for free. So we do all that clerical work. You guys are real estate agents, and you especially, Greg, is a great real estate agent, and you want to be out in the field. You don't want to be sitting behind your desk every day for 3 hours calling these banks. And that's what we're here to do for you, is we do all that calling and faxing and emailing for you.
Oh, that's so good. I was just hiring 2 new employees to help me with short sales, and I just hired 1, so there'll be like a staff of 4. So I think with your help, I'll be able to get a lot more short sales done. And the sooner they get them done, I think the better, because you said buyers sometimes walk because it takes so long. Maybe by then they can't qualify anymore, or maybe something they've lost a job, or their money got tied up with a medical problem. So a lot of things happen. So the quicker our homeowners can get service and get these short sales approved, they may have children in school. They want to make a move, before summer.
Yeah, especially summer's coming up. So this is when everyone wants to move, when their children are out of school. And the best way to get those short sales moving and closed is to make sure your sellers are on board with you the moment that you take that listing. They're signing up and a willing participant of the short sale, and they're willing to get you their updated bank statements and pay stubs every month when they get these items, so that you can get them to the bank and we don't have those holdups. Those are the short sales that we see really move the fastest and close in the 60 to 90 day period.
Okay, great. And then so for homeowners that are considering doing a short sale while it's opportune time, they're going to need 2 years tax returns, the last 2 months worth of bank statements. Including 2 months worth of pay stubs if they're employed, or if they're an LLC, they'll need their corporate charter.
All their articles of incorporation, all of their corporation docs showing who is signing on behalf of the LLC, because that's what the bank really wants to see. They want to make sure that this new buyer, who the LLC is, isn't in some way tied to the seller of the property. So that's what they're looking for in this documentation.
Oh, yeah. So if you can talk just a little bit about arm's length transactions, this is the arm's length transaction. They make people sign an affidavit. I think it's a $10,000 penalty if you fraudulently, because you could be selling it to your brother-in-law.
Correct.
And so that can't happen legally.
That's correct. The bank doesn't want to forgive you $200,000 in debt to see that you just bought the property for $200,000 cheaper.
Right. You could somebody you work with, or a cousin, or
Correct.
a college friend bought it and let you stay there and buy it back from them. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because people do try, and you can't blame them for trying, but you have to follow the laws, or there'll be penalties. Let's say if someone's filed a bankruptcy. A lot of people have fallen on hard times in the last few years. It's been one of the biggest economic downturns we've had. See a lot of corporations sending jobs overseas.
Yeah.
And it's pretty hard to compete with somebody that'll do legal work for your company, and he's in India, and maybe they speak language really well for $25 an hour, when here you have to pay an attorney or an accountant $300 an hour or something. So a lot of jobs have evaporated.
Oh, yes.
And let's say somebody had to go through a bankruptcy to start over. Can they still do a short sale?
You can still do a short sale. However, you do need to go back to your bankruptcy attorney, and the property has to be released from the bankruptcy. And then the only difference is if you've been in a bankruptcy, your file is worked with a different division in the bank, the bankruptcy division. But you are still eligible, just as anyone else, to do a short sale on your property.
Okay, and I've done some short sales for clients that were in the process of the short sale, and at some time they were threatened with foreclosure, so they started, and some have completed a Chapter 7 or Chapter 13, but that does stop.
That does.
The foreclosure process. So let's say they got a week or two, and they're afraid they're going to be kicked out in the street, but they want to cooperate with the short sale program, but they started late. They didn't contact a realtor early enough. We only have 2 weeks before a sale date. If they were to get a hold of a certified bankruptcy attorney, they could file that, and that would give time for us to coordinate all the paperwork.
Correct.
And give them a chance to do a short sale.
We've had brand new short sales with a short foreclosure sale date within 3 weeks. We ask for 10 business days. So we can't take your short sale package if you have a sale date coming up in 2 days. We do ask for 10 full days, but we have been able to stop them and get the package submitted with only 15 days to the sale date. Wow. So before you file bankruptcy, because that is going to hold you a little bit, I would always first call in to the bank. And it's a hard pill for sellers to swallow, because I've spent so much time avoiding this bank, but they are more willing, especially than they were 3 or 4 years ago, to help you. So I would always first reach out. But if you're not reaching out to the bank and you are hiding, it is definitely an option you can take.
Oh, that's good news for homeowners, and it seems like they're rolling out new programs all the time. I think a lot of people, too, who haven't been following the news, the legislature is in session right now. They're talking about an Assembly Bill 300 I've been reading about, and that will amend the AB 284. And what that means to our homeowners are, if you're sitting there and you haven't made payments for a couple of years, and because of the robo-signing law, that's Assembly Bill 284, a lot of people are getting a false sense or a complacent sense of security now. And I think they have to be aware that the session's meeting right now to relax those standards. And so a lot of people who have had a chance to regroup are now probably subject to notice of sales or notice of intent to sell. So we're going to see a lot more of those. I think I read in the paper, Hubble Smith, who was a guest on our show, he had an article yesterday and said that about 1,500, there's an uptick of notice of defaults being filed this month.
Correct.
Not as bad as it was 3 or 4 years ago when we had 4,000 a month. But they're increasing the notices of default. So a lot of homeowners need to contact a good realtor and get some professional advice while these opportunities are here. And especially if you can get 30,000 or up to 60,000, it's worth finding out what your options are.
I agree. I would definitely call in. Unfortunately, the reality is you're not going to be able to stay in this home forever without making a payment. They are going to foreclose on you sooner than later. So the time is now to act and short sell your property.
Taking advantage of it. And I've seen a lot of people also were worried about doing a short sale because it might affect their credit adversely, but it's not as bad as a bankruptcy. It's certainly not as bad as a foreclosure. And I've heard some people who negotiate short sales that stay current, because I have a couple sellers that have 800 FICO scores, They got great jobs, and they're actually participating in a short sale process, but they're expecting that the negotiation with the bank would be reported to the credit bureaus as, say, paid as agreed or satisfied, by negotiation.
Correct. If you have to have some hardship, I believe, to short sell your property. But if you work with the bank, and even though you're still able to make your payments, but pretty soon you can see you're running out of savings, or, you've put everything you can into saving this home. And at this point, you no longer can, to call your bank and work with them. And they are there to work with you.
Yeah, so it certainly helps to communicate and keep lines of communication as well. And if they contacted me or we contacted you, and what is there an email address and a way that if our viewers have questions, they can call in or send you an email?
We do spend most of our days on the phone with the banks processing your short sales. However, we do have an email address at sspu@ticortitle.com. That comes right into our short sale processing unit, and you will have a response within 2 hours.
sspu@ticor,
Ticor title.com, and it's SSPU for short sale processing unit.
Okay, that's great. And then I'm always available if our viewers want to call in and ask questions, 561-7454. You can reach me anytime. I'm your real estate coach. I'm here to help you. I'm on your team. We have the people that can answer your questions. And let's say somebody just has to get transferred, or maybe they have a sick relative to go take care of back east, and they want to do the short sale. They keep their payments current. I've been told by some so-called experts that the credit can only sometimes go down as low as 75 points or 50 to 75 points. So maybe they can actually go out and buy another home again because their existing mortgage will be satisfied, paid as agreed, paid as negotiated. So a lot of people who have really good credit don't have to be afraid of a short sale.
Correct.
So it's very good.
Yeah, it is surprising. They are working with everyone, and they'll work with you, and they work with regular homeowners in those cases, a lot like they would with a military who's been moved.
Oh, yeah. You understand, even the military to get transferred, they can't foreclose then if you get overseas or call of duty.
Correct. But they'll work with the short sale. And, that is your hardship. You've been moved to a different location, and you have to sell your home. And so they look at those as hardships.
If our viewers want to get a hold of the Ticor team, how do they contact you?
You can reach us at sspu@ticortitle.com. That's SSPU for short sale processing unit at Ticor, Ticor title.com.
Well, thank you so much. And thank you, viewers, for viewing today. And if you have any questions, feel free to contact me. You have my email, gregadamore@cox.net, gregadamore@cox.net, and our website, thebestlasvegasrealtor.com, where you can see other experts of Southern Nevada. You can look through them on the website and see them, tax attorneys, you can see accountants and escrow people and lenders. So feel free to tune in, and if you have any questions, call the station or give us a call. And we'll see you next week at 5 o'clock on TV 17, Keen TV. See you next week. Thanks for viewing.